All right, guys, let's talk about some drama. Drama. So Draymond Green decided to go on his podcast today and say some things. Here's a little clip for you in case you missed it.
That's the same guy that laid out on the floor when I made contact. Bro, you 300 pounds. Get up off the floor, bro. If he actually didn't lay out on the floor like that, I actually don't get the suspension that I got probably. But dude laid out like he was dead. That same guy then goes and say he doesn't deserve another chance. How, bro? What an embarrassment. And they expect to win with that guy.
I think Draymond needs to get his money back from whatever counselor he saw while he was out those 11 games, because that doesn't scream growth to me. And honestly, I know that's a bit joking, but for me, mental health isn't something to be treated lightly. And I feel like the league and Draymond kind of portrayed this as, we want this guy to get help. We want him to grow as a human. Sit out 11 games and nothing's going to change. You know, like he sits here and he goes after KD. He goes after Nurk. He says he doesn't understand why he was suspended. And then basically says he shouldn't have been if Nurk didn't flop.
Yeah.
To me, that screams of a guy who does not see any issue with his behavior and decides to go on a 12-minute, bitch fest on his podcast that proves that there is zero growth.
What's embarrassing is that there's zero accountability. Like, you literally hit Nurk. I went back and watched the replay again today because I was like, let me just make sure I'm not remembering this worse than what it was. Like, he literally wound up and kind of like a windmill almost with basically a backhand to Nurk. And it's like, bro, have some accountability for your own actions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he goes on in this podcast to continue like, oh, it's not even a playoff game. Like, I'm not going to get all up for a regular season game. I'm like, yes, you did. And you're doing it here on your podcast too. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but like the lack of accountability, zero like self-awareness, and also low-key insecurities. Like, don't get me wrong. Somebody in the comments said Nurk was doing a lot in the Warriors game. And 100%. Nurk was, but like, this goes far beyond
what the problem is, Linz, is that, and y'all both been there, so y'all know what I'm about to say. When you're watching on TV, that's one thing. When you're down on the court and you hear the shit they're saying, you're not picking that up. And I'm sure Draymond is talking all kind of craziness on the court to Nurk in that game the other night. So I don't want to hear that. Here's what I want to touch on. He kept talking about how Nurk has 6 points. 6.6 rebounds. That's what he kept saying.
And 4 assists, which is good for him.
Isn't Draymond known as a single double? Or
Bro, the dude played a whole damn season and averaged 8 points.
Yeah.
Like a whole damn season. Yeah. Like what are we serious? Yo, bro, you really gonna get on your podcast and talk about a dude scoring 6 points in a single game and you played a whole damn season and averaged 8 points? Mm-hmm. Like, come on, bro, cut it out. And then he's running around acting like he's like, I played great. I had 15 and 7. What?
The thing is that it doesn't even matter how good or bad Draymond is as a basketball player. That's irrelevant to me. What matters is that you're making the NBA look bad. You're making this sport
making the Warriors look bad too.
You are. You're literally embarrassing them.
Look, and Draymond the player has been a great part of what they did to win. Draymond's antics are the problem. And Nurk, his behavior was outlandish, but I think it was strategic too, because he knew that you could get under Draymond's skin as well. But man, the lack of self-awareness is what bothers me with this. If he had come out in that podcast and said, look, I was wrong in the initial incident, but this was all ass backwards in this game, maybe it's different, but he was not like that at all. And he's sitting there and he's insulting Nurk, calling him the little guy, but then also saying he's fat, which I'm like, okay, so now you're body shaming for ridiculous reasons. He kept claiming, oh, he's 100 pounds heavier than me. He's like 120 pounds heavier than Clay. You go look, Nurk's 291 and Draymond's 230. Like, we're not like just like, come on, man, really, come on, man.
Yeah.
Also, Mike from Makes said, "Does book bitching every shot make the league look good?" There's a difference between complaining to officials and bitching about calls and literally hitting players.
Yeah, and I mean, when you miss a shot and you're talking to I'm talking about Draymond directly talking to players all damn game. I'm not talking about Book complaining about shots and
And
fouls.
we've complained about Book complaining too.
Yeah, we have, but it's a different thing. If you're complaining about shots with a referee and you're playing 48 damn minutes and all you're doing is talking trash to your opponent, I mean, yeah, I'd have gave him the too small too. Because probably before Nurk gave him the hook shot for the too small, he's probably on the other end talking, I mean, all kind of nonsense. So you just don't do what Nurk did just because. I believe Draymond was chirping and Nurk just got pissed off.
I don't care about the chirping. The guys talk, all this, the lack of self-awareness and the fact that, I mean, Draymond has done some immensely questionable things. Choking out Gobert, hitting Nurk.
Below the belt shots.
Yeah, like
knocking the face off his opponent, his fucking teammate in
there
practice.
There are levels to this, y'all, and if you can't understand that, I don't know how to spell it out for you.
But what really frustrates me, it pisses me off that he hid behind mental health and the league hid behind, we want this guy to get the help he needs.
And then turned around and said it wasn't my fault, it was Nurk's fault for quote unquote flopping.
And they try to make you believe that 3-4 weeks sitting out can change anything. Like, that's what bothers me. This isn't Draymond the player. This isn't because he talks. It's because of that angle. Like, don't cheapen the idea of mental health and getting help by that dog and pony show. Just say, we're suspending him. He'll come back. He'll probably do the same shit, and we'll probably suspend him again at that point. Don't tell me it's about mental health.
I got a quick question for both of y'all. Do y'all think, because I was talking to someone about this the other day, do y'all think it was the NBA's job to suspend him or the Warriors?
For which one?
For the one he just did on Nurk.
That's the NBA's job.
Damn.
You think so?
Yeah. Because that's who gets to dictate suspensions during seasons, right?
Especially when it's multiple.
The reason why I asked that question is because
when back in the day when he punched Homie, and the league said that's an internal thing, you guys, that's on the Warriors to suspend.
Yeah. So the reason why I bring that up is it's always the league's job to give punishment for something on the court, but at some point the Warriors got to step in and be like, that ain't enough. Like, I really think the Warriors, at some point, like the NBA now, he can get away with a lot of stuff now because I feel like the NBA knows they messed up. They didn't give him enough of a suspension or punishment or take it serious enough. And so now when he makes a mistake, if he does something else, the NBA is going to look like fools. So I believe they're just enabling him to do whatever he wants to do. I think when the team comes out and says, yo, enough's enough, man. Like, we don't care what the league got to say. You our player, you work for us. Yeah, we gonna put the stamp down and say you down until we say you right.
So I totally get where you're coming from. And there's comments in the chat saying that it should be both the league and the Warriors. I think where it becomes a little bit of a slippery slope is if an organization does it, now other players could potentially look at that organization like, oh, well, you're not player friendly. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
So as a protection as a whole for all of your organizations and your franchises, I think for me, majority of that needs to come from the league. Now, do the Warriors need to have a very tough discussion with Draymond behind closed doors? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that might be one of the reasons why franchises don't want to be in charge of dishing out punishment, essentially, is because then it can follow with a reputation.
I get that.
Rightfully so or not. It just is what it is.
The bottom line is the league needs to stop pretending that that mental health and all these things are important, because it's pretty obvious it's a commodity. That's all they care about. Can the guy go out there and impact the game? And if that's the way it's going to be, at least be honest and forthcoming with it. At least then it's not some charade. It's just very honest that Draymond Green can have a positive impact for the Warriors on the court. We'll put up with the antics. We'll suspend him again if he hits somebody. But don't parade out all these other things if it's not the case. That's the thing that bothers me.
Yeah.
Enough of this this sideshow with Draymond. Let him talk into the void. Let him insult Nurk. They'll decide it on the court if they see each other again. And I don't think Draymond will like the way it goes.
I mean, Nurk did respond. He tweeted some stuff out today, which is not surprising for Nurk. Said, "All good, baby boy. Just don't stay too long on the podcast. Gonna be late for therapy sessions." Laughing face emoji.
Oh,
and then Draymond
man.
quote tweeted that
What do you
with
say?
another link to
He was
his
promoting
podcast.
his podcast.
Oh.
Calling him little
So
guy.
I think it's fair to say there is legitimate bona fide beef between these two now.
He
They
brought-
do not like each other whatsoever.
And you brought KD into it now. So.
Right, which was like, come on, what?